Room for Two, A Woman's Intimate Confessions, Part 3, by Bridgwater. Narrated by Christina May. It was time to go home. I had spent a summer alone, and now I was returning to my family. I had everything: the possibility of my husband, my children, a nice home, and a decent job. I had chosen my family myself, with security and routines. However, feelings do not always match one's choices. When I unlocked the front door to my flat, after spending a month alone in Rome, I was happy, but also nervous at the prospect of what lay ahead of my marriage and the many ordinary days stretching out ahead of me. The door shut behind me, and the walls seemed to close in as if to restrain me. The first night back in my king-size bed was blissful. Blissful and intense, because I brought joy and desire with me. My mind was open and ready to receive, and my body was as well. I had spent a summer seeking pleasure, getting to know myself, and finding out how to enjoy my own company. I had had amazing sex that summer, but the greatest joy had been to be alone with myself and being who I wanted to be. On the plane home, I sat and wondered if my summer alone had been similar to how it feels to be a man. Perhaps men grow through life without constantly wondering if they're attractive. Perhaps they are not perpetually concerned about what other people think of their clothes and hair or bodies. Men might not worry too much about being sized up and found to look too cheap or too ugly and old. If an unknown woman catches a man's eye, does he wonder if she would think he is too fat or too awkward? When the plane landed, I looked out of the window and spotted the luggage carriers scurrying around the plane. Most of them were quite husky, with round guts underneath their safety vests and large but tight t-shirts. Their bodies didn't bother them. They carried and lifted and showed the entire airport the roll of flesh hanging above their belts and the crack of their buttocks. I looked down at my phone and texted Randall that I had landed. I was looking forward to reconnecting with my husband and showing my kids how much I loved them. I had been away from them for a few weeks, but it felt as if a lot more time had passed. The boys had grown. Randall had lost some weight, and the flat looked more ragged than I remembered. The boys were happy but quiet when I got home. I kissed them, and I could tell from their scent that they had gotten older. Underneath the perfumed smell of laundry soap, there was less of the sweetness of childhood, and more of the salty and slightly tangy sweat and hormones of teenagers. Our twins were right on the brink of adulthood, and it had been a long time since they had shared all of their thoughts with me. They thanked me for the football jerseys I had bought them and disappeared into their room. I watched them closing the door with a slight pang of sadness in my heart. They were heading away from me, and perhaps I had not enjoyed them enough while I was still an inseparable part of their lives. The first night with Randall was full of the intense intimacy that had been created by many years of living together. I dived straight down into the safe and uncomplicated pleasure of recognition. He knew exactly how he should move, when he should thrust inside me, and when he should pull out and take a break. He was on his knees between my spread legs. He put my calves on his shoulders, bent down over me, and thrust deeper inside me. His body was moving on top of mine, rhythmically and with obvious experience. His movements grew faster, and he shut his eyes. Then he stopped moving, pulled out, and sat back. He observed me through half-closed eyes. Then he moistened his index finger in his mouth. He caressed me with his finger, and I opened up for him. His finger went exploring and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?